Chaotically Nerdy is made by nerds for nerds. This podcast is made by adults for adults and children with bad parents. Adult language will be used and adult situations may arise. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. On this week's episode is me, Tyler.
And me, Jarrett.
And that's it, because Ethan's still not here.
He's still a bitch.
Or Ethan's not here again. Let me say it that way, because this will probably come out in a different order than what I'm intending.
But regardless, still a bitch.
I don't care. It's fine. If I wouldn't have made any comments in the Discord about this, I think he would have watched it.
Yeah, this is your fault.
It is my fault. And so this week, we're going to talk about Blue Eye Samurai. And you'll find out what comments I made here shortly. So first up, I normally put notable voice actors or notable actors, but it's voice acting. There's not like...
There's only one or two.
The guy with no hands?
Oh, three. There's three, yeah.
He was my favorite.
Yeah, he's like...
I can't remember his name, but...
Jimmy Woo?
No.
Not Jimmy Woo.
I don't think so.
No, guy with no hands. Oh, no. Guy with no hands is... I'm thinking of the other one. That loses a hand. Or a finger.
Ringo. It was Masi Aka.
He's not a notable voice actor to me.
I'm not saying that he's a notable voice actor. I'm saying he did really well at the job.
He's fine.
And first up, let's get into it. Do you like the animations? Actually, let's go back. You said there was two, possibly three. Who did you?
I really liked. Why is his name blanking on me?
Who was it?
It was.
Was it the old man?
Fowler, his voice actor. I can't think of it. It's Gilderoy Lockhart.
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh. I really liked his. Because he doesn't get to play like a real villain a lot of times.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him just like chew up scenery and.
I think this is the first time I've looked at all the actors because I didn't know that there was such a large number of people that I knew in this. Yeah. Like I didn't know Brenda Song was in it.
Yes, she plays the
Kimmy.
Kimmy. And then Tigan's voice actor Darren Barnett.
Yeah.
Who was in Gran Turismo.
Was he?
Yeah, he plays Maddie.
Oh.
Yeah, same guy.
Oh.
But the Tigan performance gives me, and I'm sure this was on purpose, very much Zuko vibes.
Yeah.
It did. It plays like Zuko, and I'm fine with that because he's still I'm like, hey.
And then
that's good.
Jim from The Office.
Asian Jim.
No, just Jim. Did you not see that fucking John Krasinski commercial with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Where it wasn't John Krasinski. Yeah. He's like, I'm John Krasinski. He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I am. I loved it.
Yeah.
So now on to the show itself. Did you like the animation style?
I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It was just kind of like I had to get used to it.
Yeah. There was certainly times that it was odd.
It had to grow on me.
I can agree with that. It got better as...
It's probably not
I don't know
better.
that it got better.
You got more used to it and it wasn't as jarring.
Yeah. And then next up, is the story based off anything in real life? What I mean is, because anime is typically based off a manga.
This is not, as far as I know, based off anything.
Yeah.
There's no pre-existing source material.
And no pre-existing story, because, sometimes they take the closest... I was going to say half-breed, but that sounds really mean when you say it like that. But, that's what the story's about. It's about a...
Yeah, the closest that I would say that it was like the inspiration is that this period of time actually did exist of isolationism in Japan in the 1600s, 1700s.
Yeah.
I have to work on my Japanese history. But that did actually happen where they kicked all of the foreigners out of Japan.
Yeah.
And tried to protect the samurai culture.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say they tried to treat that first episode like you weren't supposed to know Mizu was a woman until the very end.
Yeah.
and it was so glaringly
It's
obvious.
obvious to us.
Yeah. It probably would not be near as obvious to
Yeah.
the other people in the
Mm-hmm.
show, or the not supposed to be. They treated her like she was deformed because of blue eyes. That's just because of the isolationism, right?
Yes. That
Okay.
is because they're just so anti-foreigner at the moment, unless, money.
Yeah,
Unless you have
they're
money.
very pro foreigner if you have a lot of money
Yes.
and or guns.
Yeah.
Which you find out later on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we should take a moment to actually talk about what the show's about. Like, give a quick recap of the
Revenge.
story. It is. It is.
Which is one of my favorite types of shows, is like a story of revenge. And
So now it
vengeance.
makes more sense why you liked it so
Yes.
much. It's about a woman who is Japanese,
half Japanese.
half Japanese, half white. She thinks her father, but she knows her father is a white person.
One of possibly 4 white people in Japan at
Yes.
this point in time.
And she, through her trials and tribulations of the show, she becomes a samurai and hunts down her father.
Maybe.
Maybe. The second season will be hunts down the rest of the maybe fathers.
I'm actually kind of excited about that. That's like
I do like that they're going somewhere else.
they're
Like,
going
that's
to fucking London. I'm like, okay.
because that's going to be interesting
Now
to
we're
see
fucking
a
down.
samurai in London.
Yeah. Like a werewolf in London, but a samurai in London.
It's like that's going to be the title of this episode.
Yes.
Like a werewolf and like, God damn it.
Like a werewolf in London, but a samurai.
So she goes through her goal of trying to find out who he is and where he
has
is.
to find a white person.
Yeah, which is obviously at this point in time it's pretty damn difficult
Yeah.
because there's only one that's still in Japan that we find out at the end of
Yes.
the show. So then after that, we've got. I was unprepared for the amount of nudity in this show. I've apparently become accustomed to not looking at ratings whenever they pop up.
At the beginning, I mean, yeah, you're just like,
I just blank and don't pay any attention to them. So I did not know there was any nudity in this show. And then the whole brothel scene happened
yeah,
with no hands.
yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And that's actually what I posted in the Discord was you didn't warn me about that. And so therefore Ethan said, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't know Ethan was such a prude.
I didn't either, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I mean, he does watch Game of Thrones and
No, that's like it's not worse than well, maybe a little bit worse than Game of Thrones. I don't recall any pegging in Game of Thrones.
yeah, that was, yeah.
That one was
Yeah.
jarring, but it was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my,
It was not George Takei's character.
no, but he is in the show.
He is in the show. But yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. So if you're going to
Yeah.
watch it,
Be warned, there's lots of nudity.
There is.
Like, not only,
it's probably at least once an episode
oh yeah, definitely.
that somebody's
I'd say.
nude.
At
But they're
least-
hour-long episodes,
At least averages out to be once an episode.
Yeah, because there was 2 in the first,
Yeah,
because Mizu was naked.
I'm not gonna say there isn't like an episode that has none, but there's definitely episodes that have multiple nude scenes that make up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's full frontal female and full frontal male.
Yeah. They hanging.
They hanging dong.
God damn it. Werewolves in London hanging dong.
Yes.
So next up, the premonition of the fight when she was balancing on the rock. I don't know if that was just like a visual training aid for her, but it literally happened the exact same where she was on the rock with one hand and flipped herself over and cut. Like she cut the tree. That was her training. And then she did the exact same thing, but it almost showed it happened in the fight.
Yeah.
It was just weird. It was a weird stylistic choice to me.
I think it's supposed to show her like the level of dedication to her training, where she's training for like every eventuality and like
Yeah.
move.
But it was just weird because it cut to her
Yeah.
like watching the fight happen when she would do it instead of just showing, which I get, I guess. Then, of course, we have the Goku weighted training reveal because she just rips off all the.
Yeah. When she's fucking scalps Tigan.
Yeah.
It's like, I am wearing weighted clothes, bitch.
Which that's great because I love that trope.
Which this is technically not an anime because it's made in America, but it is definitely an anime.
Yeah. Of let me take off this heavy shit, and
Yes,
now I can
it
like
has
Rock
a lot.
Lee.
Yeah, it has a lot of the anime tropes.
Yeah. Next up, Peaches.
Peaches.
Because Ringo at the end of episode 1, whenever he sees Mizu, literally just says he looks at her, Peaches, because she's naked. It was just so
Funny.
it was great. Next up was why would anyone prefer black teeth to white? Because we see Akemi like getting
It's a cultural thing.
well, it's wrong.
It is weird. Don't ask me, but I just know that that is like a cultural thing. They dye their teeth black.
Which maybe this is me looking back now and thinking that maybe like because of the time period, they probably didn't clean their teeth that great, so they were probably miscolored
Maybe.
to start with. Because you think about people nowadays, they're all nice and bright and white.
Well, if you get veneers.
Not everybody has veneers that has
Man,
white
that's
teeth.
that, like I don't think I've ever met that has like sparkling white teeth that did not have fucking veneers. Like, what are you brushing your teeth 7 times a day?
Does Shannon Sharp have veneers?
Probably. He's fucking rich.
Okay, well, he talked about how often he brushed his teeth on his podcast because
How much does he brush his teeth a day?
it's ridiculous. He's like, I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I go eat breakfast, I brush my teeth, and then I brush my teeth again before I leave for work.
That's too fucking
That's
much.
3 times in the morning.
Your gums are going to be destroyed.
Probably. And then next up was Randall Park's character has that gross ass thumb box
Yeah.
where they've just been cutting off all the thumbs and keeping them. And it was gross to see all the different levels of decay. And I'm sure that thing fucking stinks to carry around with him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like that makes no sense to me. Then next up, while they were actually going to meet Randall Park's character, and Taigen was with Mizu,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the whole, this is a trap. It's not a trap. This is a trap. Like they literally
Very
talked
clearly a
about,
trap.
yeah, it was very clearly a trap, and there was no need to say,
That's fine. If everybody knows it's a trap, it's fine.
yeah,
We're like, hey, we'll spring the trap.
but it was just that they went very back and forth on, it is a trap. It's not a trap. Like it felt weird. And then at the end of that episode, Taigen gets captured. Maybe I missed it. How did he get captured by then? Because I don't remember seeing him fall, get separated from Mizu, or anything.
They left him.
They just flat out left him.
Well, she basically was like, she like left him to be like, hey, meet me at such and such place. I forget what it was. It's like a month later or something
Yeah.
to have their duel. And but he was unconscious at that point, so she just left him somewhere. I can't remember the side of the road somewhere.
And then
I'm assuming at some point.
Randall Park character just happened to walk by and say, all right, I'm going to take him. That's interesting. Then turn around and Mizu's a hitman for hire.
Yeah.
Like immediately. I didn't think Samurai did that.
She makes it very clear she's not a fucking samurai.
I guess, yeah, that's true. I kind of forgot about that.
She literally tells Ringo, I am not a samurai.
Yeah. So,
She is a Ronin. Well, no, a Ronin is technically a samurai without a master, so she's not a samurai.
she's
She's not a Ronin. She's just a fucking
badass with a sword.
yeah, badass with a blade.
Oh, this next point pisses me off. Are they trying to make foot fetishes a thing in media now? Because, like,
I think it's not that we're trying to make it. We're just accepting that there are people that have them.
yeah, but they're wrong. Literally, their brain is cross-wired. They done a study on it, and if you like feet, your brain is crossed to where it's like a deal with your genitalia. Like, you see feet, and you're thinking about genitalia, essentially. And it's just hardwired wrong. So, you're wrong.
Well,
I'm saying you specifically because I'm calling you out.
I don't like feet. I find feet
Ethan's
disgusting.
not here, or I would call
Yeah.
him out.
Feet are disgusting.
They are. They're fucking gross.
Yeah.
Don't like feet, you fucking weirdos.
And maybe it's just because I have big feet. So they're just,
I don't think, well, I mean, I guess some people might be into their own feet, but
yeah. I look at my feet and I'm like, it's nasty, which I have a
giant fucking,
black toenail now.
yeah. There's somebody that's out there erect right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, I seen it and I feel like I'm seeing more foot stuff lately, and I don't like it.
What is this? The second foot thing you've seen?
At least the second foot thing.
I just figured we were talking about Hot D.
It was. I literally have it wrote down. Hot D and this, and I'm sure more, because I'm sure that there's some that I've missed somewhere along the lines. Whenever Mizu is fighting the Thousand Claw Army,
Yeah.
and they're in the house, and they're sending like 3 people in the door at a time,
Yeah.
and it's almost like the next 3 are just waiting, and just she kills
That's the
those
thing
3.
I noticed a lot in these fights, in the fight scenes of the show in general, was if there was a big like multi-person fight where it's like 10v1 or something, it was the old martial arts trope of like
Couple at a time.
couple at a time. I'm like, nope, that's not how you do that.
Nope. Because
You would go, everybody would go, or at least 3/4 of you would go.
yeah, so which I get in the same concept. If you have too many people around, it then becomes harder to fight.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
But you could send 4.
You can send 5.
Yeah. Well, I was saying 4 because it's like 1 on each side, and that's
Cardinal directions, baby.
yeah.
That way, they're always theoretically they're gonna have a person at their back.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's
so
hard to fight.
They have to be like the goat.
Yeah, basically. And then next up, I put the weights make a longer sword! Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, because that was badass.
It was. I was like, oh, that's neat. That was neat.
That's probably my favorite scene in the show, is her taking those off and putting them together to beat the fuck out of some people. Next up is Mizu's motivation throughout the series baffles me, because it she goes back and forth between being this good person and not being this good, of being,
Well,
I'm only here to find my father and kill him,
yeah.
to I care about these people, I'm going to save them.
So I think it's the dichotomy of like at her core, she is a good person that wants to help people, but
She's so blinded by rage.
her rage and her want for revenge that it makes her so single-minded that she can't, or she feels like she can't save everybody.
Yeah. I also put that she gets fucked up repeatedly and probably shouldn't be alive.
That's like action movie trope. Like she gets stabbed like 15 times. You're
Yeah.
like, this bitch would be dead.
Yeah, because she'd have gangrene.
Yeah, there's no antibiotics.
There's nothing.
There's nothing.
You're
We're
fucked.
we're just wrapping some dirty ass clothes on this shit. And we're like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that's
good.
true too. It's just dirty clothes, pond water.
Yeah, you're like, you're fine. I'm like, well,
But
it's not like
again,
her. Tiger literally also has that shit happen,
yeah,
and he's fine.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you'd be dead.
So whenever she gets to the castle and she's trying to get past a trap, she shoves her sword in the wall
Yep.
and bounces, uses it to jump over a giant hole. The next area she's in, she's got that sword back.
She literally, they have a scene where she uses the guys to go get her sword.
Does she?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
missed that
I
entirely.
don't know
Somehow.
how it was like a funny because they were like so afraid of her. They she used their corpses and then had a live one left, get her sword.
Oh,
It was funny.
I missed that entirely. I imagine the boy was being an ass when when that
Probably.
happened. Okay, well that answers that question at least. Because I literally I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, how the fuck she get that thing back? But I didn't go back to look either. Monkeys and monster, was that all just the flowers? So whenever they're
So I don't know. I think there were actual monkeys there. I don't know if they were like that aggressive or if she was fucking tripping balls. I think she was just tripping balls.
you think so?
Yeah.
It was more so the monster that threw me off.
Yeah, but they were angry. The monkeys were kind of aggressive. They were
Yeah.
Like
Which
freaking
maybe
her out.
if they were tripping too.
Yeah, the monkeys might also have been fucking tripping balls because apparently, I don't know, they're psychedelics.
Apparently. And then this one says, would you rather fight a giant or multiple people at a time?
Fucking multiple people at a time. If we're talking about specifically that giant because he's fucking scary. He's just tough.
See, I'm the exact opposite.
You're like,
I'd rather fight the one because I would get distracted fighting multiple and die
To
immediately.
me, seemed like she had an easier time finding multiple people than she did have fighting that giant.
Well, I think it's supposed to seem like that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make any sense to me because if you're 1v1, you only have the
I
one.
know. I think that guy was so fucking tough. He was like, I will not die.
Probably. Random Metallica happened.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird. Didn't mind it.
Wasn't mad, but I was just like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's essentially how I did that. Was what?
What's happening here? Why are we playing rock songs?
Nothing in that has tied to this.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of A Knight's Tale. The first time you hear like the modern music,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the fuck?
But at least A Knight's Tale is meant to be a comedy, so whenever
Sure,
you
yeah,
hear it,
that's
it's
funny.
like, that's funny. This was just weird. And then next up, we already kind of hit on the pegging thing. The face pegging was what I wrote.
Yeah.
Because,
The mask
yeah. That was-
begging.
It's just fucking weird.
Funny.
It was
Weird.
funny, but weird.
I was like, oh, takes up the bum.
Which, for that day and age, I feel like that would be a really, 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 really taboo thing for a man to do. Which I don't know. Maybe Japan's different.
I don't know. It just seems like they're like, was that at what's her name's?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't judge. They
It wasn't even there. I think it was in
Was it
it was in the safe house, but they had brought the girls
Okay.
to the safe house.
either or. I think they were just like, yeah, we don't judge what you're interested in. We don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not a thing he would like for everyone to know,
Yeah, probably not. A lot of people, would
especially
probably,
as they go back to London.
well, like in that time, they probably would view him as weak as for doing that. I don't know. I don't know how they viewed it back in the day.
Yeah.
And then next up, how are you supposed to defeat an army of guns? Because that's the gist of the last couple episodes is Abijah Fowler. It's Abijah?
Yeah. I think-
He's coming in with an army of guns. It makes no sense that they win that fight. The only way I see it happening is if you have people that are really shitty shots, and then they have to take 7 and a half minutes to
guns
reload.
weren't that good back then.
They weren't, but they're
There's
shot.
there's a reason that you have a line of guns and they're all pointing the same direction, because it's like somebody will hit somebody.
Yes. But at the same time,
Also, at the same time, at this point, Japan had like their own guns.
yeah.
Just like that, they were like freaked out. They're like, "Oh my god, guns!" Now that guns have been around for like another 100 years in Japan. At that point,
Next up, I put Matrix move because I believe Mizu dodged a bullet with slow-mo. I think it was me.
As the
Somebody dodged a bullet with slow-mo, and I think it was Mizu.
yeah, it was her.
Like, it was Abijah pulling out the pistol.
Yeah, he like shoots her or shoots at her, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Bitch."
You can definitely tell it's influenced by a lot of modern-ish
Yeah.
media.
Yeah, American modern media.
Yep. And then we kind of talked about it. She's going to London. The reason she's going to London is because Fowler tells her that he knows where the other ones are, and any one of us could be your daddy.
I don't think he knows where they're at.
You don't think so?
I think he played her.
Yeah. And then he'll get to
I think
London and
that-
he'll just up and leave.
No, I think he'll get, because the way I read it is like he's still kind of under her control. Like he's still gonna be like manacled or whatever, at least the boat ride over there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the climax of season 2 will be him dying.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe not at her hand. Like maybe one of the other ones shows up, but maybe he gets his release from her. Like she's just like, "You're fucking useless. Go away." And then they're like, "You know too much."
Or they find out that
Yeah, but she's
he's
here.
not the
Yeah.
like he's not the dad. So then she's like, "Fuck it, I don't care
Fuck
about
it,
you."
You're dead.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of a character arc there of her showing mercy,
Yeah.
even if it was only to fuel the longer term goal of
Of killing.
killing the other 3 white men.
And that's the thing. I don't even think she cares about killing all of them. I think she only cares about killing whichever one is her dad.
Yeah, I think she wants to kill all of them.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. The way, because like the way Fowler made it seem is that they're all shitty.
Yeah. That they're all just as bad as him.
Yeah,
Essentially.
and like they all like. Also, the real that maybe her mother wasn't her mother, or the person she thought was her mother wasn't her mother.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't know if you can believe him.
There's no tell. I would
But
assume
it-
not.
Makes sense
Yeah.
because her
But
mother
they-
was a piece of shit.
Yeah. To her specifically. And that's probably because if it's not her real mother,
Just like
she's
a
been assigned this task of.
milk mother or whatever they call it, a midwife or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. And then how many seasons do you think they're going to stretch this out?
I don't know. If there's no, 'cause since there's no pre-existing material, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're probably going to go until they can't anymore.
Until Netflix cancels it, which that would mean it'd be about 3 seasons. That's what it'll be.
Probably.
Which I think it'll be fine. Like you go, like you have a season where they're in London. She finds maybe another one of the white people.
Because there's 4. And that's why I wondered like if they were going to go
Maybe
to
4.
another, like do one a season essentially.
Maybe one's in London. Maybe one's in like Copenhagen or Berlin or something or France
Maybe.
or America.
I honest to God figured America would be one of them.
Probably will be one of them. She's like, you gotta go across the Atlantic, fighting the Revolutionary War.
My brain immediately was like, they're going to go to London,
Mhm.
which obviously I was like, okay, they're going to go Asia,
Mhm.
England. No, what the fuck is
Europe?
Europe? I'm a dumbass.
Fuck,
Yeah,
Jesus
Europe.
Christ.
I knew it started with an E. Give me a break. Europe, Africa, and North America. That's Africa's a country as well. It's not a continent. It's in Europe, right? Am I stupid?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know why my brain.
No,
Maybe
I'm just
Australia.
I'm looking at you weird because
Maybe Australia. I don't know.
Australia makes some
Like my
of-
brain is
well,
thinking continents, but I'm saying countries.
I'm just saying if we're taking like the larger demographic of the people of Africa, not a lot of whites there.
There's not, but there's not a lot of whites in Japan at this time.
Yeah, that's fair. I just assume that they would be like,
They're probably tied into slavery, and
they would be like in places whites were at.
you would think
The other 3 at least, they'd be like, yeah. Like even Australia is kind of like
a stretch.
a stretch because I don't even know if Australia had been founded at that point.
They hadn't. Britain hadn't sent all their criminals
Like
yet.
it's like at that point, like that's still like the generation of the shitheads that got sent to Australia,
Okay.
which I guess would make sense from like a
And then
story perspective.
we haven't really talked about it, but there was a alternate storyline throughout this whole thing.
Oh, there's a B plot, yeah,
Yeah, a Kimmy,
a Kimmy's
essentially,
plot.
which I could have cared less about. Like,
I didn't care about her specific plot. I cared about Tygan's side of it,
yeah,
of him getting back to her. And then I was a little bit sad because I was like, oh, this bitch, she tore a man's heart out.
yeah.
She's like, you suck. Like, I cannot follow you. I must be
My
alien.
own.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, fucking.
Yeah, I just did not care about her side plot whatsoever. I don't know why I didn't.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah,
She's a spoiled little rich girl. It's kind of like,
that thinks she knows the world.
yeah.
There's a couple things we didn't mention about the show. The old man that was the sword maker, the blind sword maker.
Yep.
He was that Takei? George
No,
Takei?
Takai was
Takai?
Akemi's butler.
Dad. Oh, Butler.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more
Her
sense.
real dad. Since her actual father is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
But George Takai was like an actual kind of decent father to her.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
but the old man, I did like his little bits there.
Yeah.
There was also the weird episode where Mizu had a flashback, like she was probably laying on
Oh,
her
the
deathbed.
flashback to her husband.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was like a whole weird.
That was a long bottle episode of her, but it's supposed to like show why she doesn't trust people.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like why she has a hard time trusting people is because like the guy who she like
Trusted,
trusted and loved
fucked her over.
fucked her over,
And it
killed
was-
her mom,
Yeah, and tried to kill her.
tried to kill her.
And then they tried to play it as a whole, I didn't do it to you.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. But you sure as shit did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got, unless there was anything else you can think about of the show? Like any other story points that were important? I don't really think there was.
No, we did that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'd have to like look.
It's not a bad show.
I liked it.
The nudity and sexual content kind of caught me off guard and felt out of tone for a good chunk of the show. But I also understand with the time period, it was probably more likely to happen that way anyway.
Yeah. The other thing on the plot point is like, did you get any romantic vibes between Mizu and Taigen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought you were supposed to.
You're supposed to, yeah.
Yeah. I just assumed that they were going to end up together.
Possible. I don't know if they actually will.
I mean, they did have the whole scene where she ended up on top of him after a fight or something. And and he was like, "Oh, I must be missing a Kimmy." And he's like, "Wait a minute. Why about hard?" That was before he knew that she was a woman. That was
before he knew she was a girl.
Yeah.
That was a fun. I'm like,
yeah.
This man is bisexual. I don't know about you. Whenever I was wrestling guys, I didn't ever got a boner.
I didn't wrestle a whole lot of guys.
You know what?
I tried not to.
I'm just saying. You got a little bit both ways.
Leeway, yeah.
You got a little bit.
Yeah. Overall rating. What do you give it?
I'm going to give it probably way higher than you will. I'll give it an 8.7.
That's fair. I'd say, I can't say I liked it more than Gran Turismo, though.
That's fine.
So I have to give it like a 7.
I told you I'd give it way higher.
Just a flat 7 for me. I don't think it was bad. It's just for me with the animation style and...
Didn't hit for you.
Yeah. And like the nudity and like the story I liked.
Yeah.
But just the delivery of everything wasn't...
He's like, I liked the meat. I didn't like the bread.
Exactly. Rotten Tomatoes has a 100% tomato meter. It has no amount, it doesn't show how many people have reviewed it, so no telling. And a 96% audience score. Again, doesn't show how many, but we know animation typically doesn't have very high Rotten Tomatoes. Like people,
especially like adult animation.
Yeah. And then IMDb, which I have pulled up as well because I wanted to double check my numbers, is an 8.8 out of 10 and it stayed that from whenever I made this script. So about a little over a month ago. But now it has 57,000 reviews. And then it doesn't have a critic score attached to it. And then the episodes, episode 1 got an 8.7. That's where, you meet Mizu. And at the end of it, that's where, not the end, but that's also where she cuts off Taigen's. Like she scalps him that episode, right?
Yes, because the second episode is where she fights the
group.
The group, and then he finds her at the bottom of the cliffs.
And that episode has an 8.6.
Yeah.
And then episode 3 is an 8.5, which is where she meets Randall Park's character.
The episode ratings have changed a lot.
Have they?
Yes.
Episode 4 is an 8.8, which is where it's more like a Kimmy orientated whenever she leaves, I think. And Mizu's, that's when she gets to Madame Kaji's place, and then she asks for her to kill the person. Episode 5 is the tale of the Ronin and the Bride, and it's a 9.6. It's the highest rated.
Yeah, which is that's the flashback episode.
Yes. And because it's talking about, it's just weird. Episode 6 is an 8.8. Episode 7 is an 8.5. And episode 8 is an 8.2.
Yep.
So 6 is where she actually gets through like she's in the castle. Or she starts making her way through the castle defenses.
I think it's the beginning of the castle, yeah.
Yep. And then she gets knocked out, or she has to leave for whatever reason from the castle and has to find another way to find Fowler. Because episode 7 is where
she finds Taigen, and then
they both get out.
Yeah, she's like, he's fucked up. We can't beat him.
Yep. And then 7 is where basically she prepares
Yeah,
to
they
fight.
heals and prepares for the fight. And,
Yeah.
Was that Kyoto? I can't. It was the Emperor, so it's at that point in time, it's probably Kyoto.
I don't know. Fowler was bound for Edo, is what it says.
Edo, that would be.
Reveals for terrifying scope of his plans. Akemi braces herself for her upcoming wedding. And
Old name of Tokyo? Or is that different?
I don't know, but I've been seeing that name a lot because of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, there's an Edo period.
Yeah. And then,
And a
obviously,
castle.
the last episode is...
Yeah, it is the former name of Tokyo.
Gotcha. Last episode's where she actually beats...
The
Ish,
ever-loving shit out of Fowler.
Yeah.
She beats the fuck out of
Yeah,
him.
she does. And it's good.
It is kind of cathartic.
Yeah. So that will wrap up this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate you guys listening. Use that link in the description, and you can find all of our socials and all the fun stuff, and a link to our Discord there where you can talk to us and keep up to date with all the random nudity I see whenever I post it and say, what the fuck? So we appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.